welcome back to What Do You Say? My name's Andrew Termini. With me, as always, is my brother and your host, Frank T. If you like what we're doing out there, please go out, like, subscribe, leave us a review, and remember to turn on those notifications so you can be updated every time we upload some new content. And I just want to take time to thank all the people who've been subscribing and liking, and we've had exponential growth, and we're getting thousands of listens every week, and
around 3,000.
Yeah, no, I think even more.
And come to find out, I was all fired up about it, but that's like not a lot.
It's not a lot, but when you come from nothing, it's a lot. So
and how about today? We got a guest that we don't really have to introduce and give a whole lot of background to. We've been waiting for this.
We have. We've
been waiting for the day where we could have a guest and just be like, "Hey, it's Justin Reid."
Yeah,
you know him.
If you don't know him, you've been living under a rock. He's got 2 rings on him. Come on.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Number one, thanks for showing up at the poker tournament. So when Andrew Ross Termini Foundation and Nina's Wings did the poker tournament, he showed up, auctioned off some items, played some poker. Yeah. It was great. Everybody loved it.
Yeah. How long did you last after?
I finished 6th.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
nice.
You're a loose cannon. I figured you were all in.
And every time I did it, one time I won with ace high, and then I went all in with king 10, and the flop came king 10, and I had a guy betting into me.
Really?
Yes. He was betting into me on a straight draw.
And you're notorious for just shoving.
Impatient.
Yeah.
But
shoving.
What I kept doing, and this was clearly because it was going to a good cause, was I kept rebuying.
Yeah,
rebuying. And typically, if it wasn't like my tournament, I would have went all in, lost, showed my face, said hello, and gone.
Yeah.
Because I don't really enjoy. I'm not very patient.
Yeah.
And you got to be patient.
You have to. Yeah.
And here,
you
matter of fact,
you got to be ready to sit there 30 minutes and not play a hand.
You're right. And as a matter of fact, I think when you sat down and played for me is when you doubled me up. Because I was on fumes.
Yeah.
And then he sat down and played for me, doubled me up, and then there you go. It was off to the races after that.
Off and running.
Yeah. So
you had a ringer.
Yeah.
Kind of a ringer.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple of ringers there. I mean, there were some really good card players there.
Yeah.
Guys way better than that I had no business sitting at a table with.
Well, I know we both know one of the best card players of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny T.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was one of the greatest.
Yeah.
Is one of the greatest.
Yes, he is.
So Justin Reid, born and raised in Louisiana.
Yep.
Prairie. What was it? What's it?
Prairieville,
Louisiana.
Did your research?
And I did some due diligence.
There it is.
Absolutely.
Ain't hard to find.
I ain't walking in blind.
It ain't hard. It ain't hard to find stuff on you. You know what I'm saying?
So, I had a brother that played for the 49ers too, right?
Yep. Drafted in 2013. 5 years with the 49ers, 3 with the Panthers.
Okay, so clearly we know athletics it's a genetic component. How many brothers and sisters?
3 brothers and a sister.
3 brothers, and where do you fall?
And I'm the youngest.
You're the baby.
Yeah.
Okay, and now were the other 2 athletic as well, or?
Yeah, my sister played a little softball, but not as much. My other brother, he actually won 2 rings in college playing soccer.
Oh, really?
And my dad was an NCAA champion in the 110 hurdles. My mom played in the semi-pro football league, so
your mom played in the semi-pro football league.
Yeah, she was a linebacker. She tells everybody we got all our talent from her, which is
there you go.
Definitely got the toughness.
There you go.
Yeah.
Were you a 3-sport athlete in high school? I mean, you played baseball, basketball?
I did track, football, and soccer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Track, football. Isn't football and soccer in the same season though?
Yeah, so they in Louisiana they didn't overlap. Soccer was in the winter, so soccer and track overlapped. So my first year I did soccer. The next 3 years I did track.
Got it. 100 meter, 200 meter, 4x1s, things like that.
Hurdles, 4x1, 4x2, 200 open.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And then, so at what age did you start playing football? How old were you?
8th grade.
We started. Well, I would consider that late. Yeah.
And I actually didn't want to play. Like I played 7th grade. 7th grade, 8th grade, I played for a middle school team. High school was not going to play. I was going to stick to soccer. It's my favorite sport as a kid. And my high school football coach, because this time my older brother was playing at LSU and, having some success there. My high school football coach came in and grabbed me out of science class, they like to come and talk to me. He was like, man, your brother's doing these things. You like, how about you just try it out? Like, just come out, try it out, see if you like it. I mean, can't thank him enough to this day.
Yeah.
Gave it a go, ended up liking it, and look where we are today.
So soccer was the first love.
Yeah, which is where the kicking comes from.
Which it's crazy because, if you look at like the highest paid athletes, it's Cristiano Ronaldo, it's
Lionel Messi.
Lionel Messi. They're like the first three are soccer players.
So soccer is on every continent. It's big. So when I went to do a mission trip at Haiti, when we got into the village, first thing that you walk into, you see people playing soccer. What I mean? It's huge.
It's a game that I wish I understood more, because when that World Cup's on, it looks like it's incredibly intense.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I just don't understand the game so I can sit down and actually enjoy it.
Speaking of World Cups coming to KC.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. KC's a host city. Houston's a host city. LA's a host city.
Nice.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
So 7th, 8th grade. So then you decide you are going to play football in high school.
Yeah.
And then, so what size high school was it?
5A.
5A school. All right.
Yeah.
And so how long did it take for you to play varsity?
I played varsity. I played very little my sophomore year, and I was a starter my junior year.
Very little sophomore. Okay. And what positions? I gotta assume.
Yeah, safety. Everyone at my school was big enough that everyone only played one way.
Really? Okay.
So
all right.
played safety. And then my senior year, I played a lot of nickel.
Got it.
And then I was the kicker too.
Got it.
The only guy that played both ways at my school was Landon Collins. And he was a running back. He averaged 20 yards a carry. I was the safety.
Yeah.
With Alabama. We had some cats though. We were pretty loaded.
I watched your high school highlights, man.
We went 12-0 2 years in a row, and ended up having an early exit in the first round. But yeah, we had Eddie Lacy, Landon Collins, my older brother, me.
How much older is he than you?
5 years.
I mean, they were scouting number one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
they knew where you were at on the field.
Yeah,
I mean, because I watched your highlights and I was like,
so,
you could just tell.
I was a thumper.
You could just tell, man. You know, like he's either going to stick him or pick him.
Yeah,
he's coming for you.
Yeah,
So yeah, man.
I try not. I feel like guys expect it. I don't want to disappoint them.
No,
you know what I mean. I want to disappoint them. Like they know they're going to get hit. I don't want them to get their confidence up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then at what point, because you end up going to Stanford, what point do you start getting recruited? And what point do you know, hey, I'm sitting on something special right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Probably, end of my junior years when I started getting a couple offers. I ended up going to the opening that summer. Nike's the opening up in Oregon. And then, early in my senior season is when I started having some offers roll in. LSU was actually late to the table for me. But at the end of it, I ended up having somewhere around 30 or 33.
All big time schools, I'm assuming.
Yeah. And then my top were, of course, Stanford, Notre Dame, LSU, and was close to going to Oklahoma for a while.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What'd you get your degree in?
Industrial engineering.
Engineering.
I haven't graduated yet.
Haven't graduated
yet.
I
declared early.
Well, I mean, you have to, I think.
Yeah, when the cards are hot.
You can't risk injury.
Yeah, like one of my best friends too, Bryce Love, came in class, same class. He's a North Carolina guy. He stayed to finish, which loved that for him. And then on the last play of the last game, his senior season, tore his ACL.
Yeah, right. Like you just can't risk that.
It's horrible, bro. Yeah, and he was a Heisman finalist. Still ended up getting drafted, but I mean, just overcoming a ACL injury.
And anymore, like here, it sucks. But 20 years ago, it
was over with.
It was a career ender.
Like now you can actually come back. Yeah, 20 years ago. It was over
now you can do it. Now, I mean, it's particularly a high profile athlete. He's getting diagnosed early. He's getting surgery. I mean, here, our high school kids. So we've had 2 ACL injuries this year. Both of them were diagnosed and had surgery within 10 days. Carl Moley did it on a Friday and had surgery on a Tuesday, our middle linebacker.
He already had surgery?
He's already had it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. Right?
Hell yeah.
Getting diagnosed and treated early. Yeah. So.
But they say that, like what happened to Hutchinson, gruesome injury, right? But they say it's easier to come back from a broken bone than it is
Well, here's the problem, though. In my opinion, and as a physical therapist, all of it is here.
yeah.
It's like take an MMA fighter that Weidman or
Yeah.
Anderson Silva
Yeah.
when they compound fracture the tibia. That tibia is going to heal strong as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they going to mentally be able to kick again though?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what separates you is like, can you take, like for me personally, when I tore my ACL, non-contact injury, where the sprinkler went up and came down, left a divot, and my foot just got caught in it and I hyperextended my knee.
Yeah.
I never, ever on grass could sprint again.
You didn't feel comfortable.
I never could do it.
Yeah. The confidence takes a while.
I just
I've
couldn't.
had 5 surgeries, and like all of them, you can get to a point where you're playing in, somewhere between 7 or a year, but you don't really feel confident to that second year.
Yeah.
After a whole season, you like, okay, I made it through the season. I didn't get hurt. That next year, you start to have a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
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 For sure, man.
It's a big, well, here, my next year, I tore it again.
8
Yeah.
practices in.
Yeah, I tore it again.
He had 16 total
Yeah.
practices and 2 knee surgeries.
I mean,
Yeah.
so it was just, by that time, I was just,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
tried to come back again, but I was just
Right.
so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was real. I mean, I'll speak about it, Frank, because it was unfortunate because you ran the ball hard. I tell him all the time now. It's tough to compare anybody to Pachenko. The guy runs like he's mad at the ground.
Uh-huh.
But you had the same style of run, man.
Yeah, I just wasn't as fast. That's why you go to Benedictine versus.
Yeah, well, yeah, I get it.
I was
The
a
thing-
4.6. He's probably like a 4.3.
Yeah.
That 0.3 of a second's a big deal.
Yes.
And hold on, even like when you see it on the field, like watching it on film is one thing, but then like I remember when we played St. Mary's in 2021 in the state championship, and they had probably, I don't know how many kids go D1. They had that one kid that went and played for Dion at Jackson State, but then I can't think of his name.
Is he in the league?
He might be.
I think he is, Frank.
Coleman, I think was his name.
Man, he's
Something like that. But when you're looking at these kids that run 4.3s and 4.4s, and our guys run 4.6s and 4.7s, you don't realize what a difference 0.3 of a second is.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's
He made
insane.
everybody look like they were
Jet sweeps
slow.
and stuff. Yeah.
Huh? It makes everyone look. Here,
look slow.
The quarterback at the time, he looked like he was playing at recess. You know what I mean? It was just they were a 3A school from St. Louis, but they were the number 2 team in the state all class, and we ended up running into them.
They're
and-
loaded.
Yeah, we ended up running
They're
into them in
loaded.
the state championship, and they just, I mean, they handled us very well. It was.
I'm sure they did everybody.
They did.
Here, other than
They did.
Christian Brothers, CBC, but other than, I mean, they didn't lose to them, but
No.
they beat everyone pretty bad. We had an idea because we played Cardinal Ritter in the semifinal game and we squeaked by them. And then when you look at, they played Cardinal Ritter earlier in the season and 40-balled them, so we knew that we were in a dogfight.
Yeah.
But it's just that speed of the game. It's just, oh my gosh, it's crazy. So, talk to me about your choice to go to Stanford. And so I also looked up 3% of the people, 3% of the people that try to get into Stanford get in, and they get 55,000 applicants a year.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Man.
Yes. So clearly Stanford has a culture where, and most of them have 3.95s to 4.0s. So clearly you're as smart as you are good at football.
Yeah, I did. I'm good. I'm good with numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go on.
It was a decision because growing up in just outside Baton Rouge, I was very emotionally attached to LSU.
Oh yeah.
Like my whole family went to LSU. Dad went there, brother went there, mom, everyone in my family. And it's like, like football culture there is like football culture here. Like if you grew up in Kansas City and you had the choice to play for an NFL team, everyone's like, you want to play for the Chiefs.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have the choice to go play for a college. Everyone's like, you want to play for LSU. You know what I mean? You have some talent. And ultimately, it was just like the perfect storm of some things. One, my brother was playing for the 49ers at the time. So that was right down the street from Stanford. My mom was actually as a travel nurse, so she would spend 2 weeks out in Oakland, 2 weeks back home. So she was already doing that for like the past 7 years. Dwayne Aina had just left Texas, long resume of DBs, Michael Huff, Earl Thomas, Sage Griffin. And he had just went to Stanford the year before. And then, of course, like a little bit of it was me wanting to blaze my own trail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Me wanting to, not be my older brother's younger brother, but, make a name for myself. So all those things kind of came together. And I made the decision pretty much like a couple of days before signing day. I think signing day was like February 4th. I don't know if that's still signing day.
I think it's early February.
Yeah. I made it like the first, like February 1st is when I made the decision that I'll go there. Yeah.
Blaze your own trail. And so when you got there or when you recruited, what coach drew you in?
Dwayne Aina.
Dwayne
Aina, more than anything. Him and Coach Shaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like at the time, and my foundation is very heavily in education. I care about education. But at the time, like when I was thinking on the football side, I was like, I still want to go play in the NFL. And I felt like Coach Aina being there, coming from Texas, really gave me the confidence to make that decision. Because like I grew up just on SEC football. Like, you know what I mean? SEC football
Bama,
in college.
yeah, right.
I mean? That's where I want to go play.
Yeah.
But I felt like being coached and mentored by him, that I still get the tools that I needed to eventually go play in the league.
And being from Louisiana, I mean, that college, LSU, man, is like...
It's unbelievable.
It's like the city, they love it.
Yeah.
I mean, people just love it. And it's like... For you to blaze your own trail and go out to Stanford, you're like...
I bet those colleges seat more people than NFL stadiums.
No, 100%. Yeah, Death Valley, I mean, like, even before they did the renovations like 10 years ago, I mean, they get people squeezed in. I mean, a lot of the stadiums, Arrowhead's unique, but a lot of the stadiums, like, you have a little more room in the seats and things. College stadiums, they're packing them in. The student section, they're squeezing as many people in there as possible.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Still ain't louder than Arrowhead.
Well, what's Arrowhead seat? Like 80,000?
Maybe debatable.
Really?
That might be the only place in the world, though.
Really?
That might be. Who'd be a great person? You got to ask Clyde.
Okay.
Clyde's been both. Clyde's played in Death Valley, and he's played in Arrowhead. He would be the person to be able to answer.
Well, I mean, you're talking about an extra probably 30,000 people. Has to be.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it seats over 100,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to make me Google it right now.
As far as NFL stadiums that you've played in, is Arrowhead the loudest?
Yes. Close second is Seattle, which is surprising because it feels like they're missing two parts of their stadium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like right down the middle, but something with the acoustics of how it's built.
76,416 is Arrowhead.
What you got on
LSU is somewhere probably
102,321.
Really?
So you're talking about another 30,000 people.
Almost a third bigger.
I can't imagine that it's not louder at LSU.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask Clyde.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. It's pretty loud. It's pretty loud.
And I know Arrowhead's ridiculously loud, but
that's 30,000 people.
Here's
how are 30,000 people not louder?
Here's a real question, because you play defense.
Yeah.
So it's probably when they're on offense, they're probably a little at home, at least giving them an opportunity to communicate and all that other stuff. So it's probably not as loud while they're on offense. But when you guys are on defense, that's got to be insane.
Yeah, we'll turn it up. Turn it up. Like some games.
Does that ever get old, dude?
No, never. It's like a feeling you chase. Like, and it's a saying in football, but it's honestly so true. Like, guys will play football for free. We want to play the game. We play the game for free. Now, of course, we got to take care of our families and do everything else, and it's a business at the end of the day. But that feeling you get, man, that adrenaline rush when you're on the field and big plays happen and everyone, you know what I mean? Like that electricity that just goes through your veins.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like you can't get enough of it. Can't ever get
and
enough
I got to
of it,
think at
chasing that.
some point, like at the beginning of the game, it's one thing, but at some point you got to not function off adrenaline and be able to sink in and play the game without any.
Well, more than anything is managing the adrenaline, because young players like will feed into that too much too early. And by the time you get to the end of the game, you'll be emotionally drained.
100%.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean, you'll drain yourself. You won't have any energy, to take on the fourth quarter. So, like the biggest thing, at least for me, is like managing it early, remaining calm. And certain points you need some juice, like especially if you're trying to motivate the guys or get guys going, or maybe something bad happens, guys are hanging their head, and you're trying to pick the energy back up to go back there. You let it out, but for the most part, it's about just managing and staying calm through it. But
so what's your pregame look like? Everybody's got their kind of ritual where you put your headphones on and kind of go into your zone. What's yours look like?
Yeah. So last year I used to go out and kick a little bit more field goals and stuff but this year I show up about 2.5 hours before the game. I like to go and watch either practice from earlier in the week, or the team we're playing, like a game that they recently played. I like to watch it on the field. So I'll take my iPad out there and just go watch it sitting on the bench, watch a couple of plays just to try and get a feel for what they're about to do and visualize it on the field that we're standing on right there.
Yeah.
Then I'll go in, get taped up, go out and do my pregame warm-up with some of the strength staff. After I do that, I head over with Donald D'Angelo, Double D, and we do our little pregame routine, some footwork stuff, throwing the ball with each other. Go back inside, get dressed at about this time. I usually finish up about 12 minutes before we go out there and do the pregame team stuff. And in that team minutes, it'll just kind of be whatever. There's like little things I want to remind some of the young guys about. We'll go over and talk to them about that, or just whatever's happening. And then you go and do the pregame. I do the first breakdown. B Cook does the second breakdown. Get the guys riled up, head inside, and then it's about time to roll.
So manage your emotions. You're still studying until it's time to go, and then when it's time to turn it up.
Yeah, because I kind of like in practice during the week, like we'll watch film and we'll do plays and do installs, and straight from there we'll go straight outside, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that routine. Yeah. Of like just now watching film on some things, like getting in that mindset, and then just going straight out to the field and playing.
Yeah, you play like you practice.
Yeah.
So you can't stay in the same routine.
What do you do with the strength coaches as far as warm up type stuff? And I ask that because I do strength and conditioning. I'm the strength and conditioning coach over at Pius. So I've been a physical therapist since 2005. And then when Anthony Simone, who you actually met, he's the one that did the cigars.
Yeah.
He's the head coach at Pius.
Okay.
When he took the head coaching position, he's like, hey, I want you to be strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
So I'm always wanting to know.
Yeah, so we start with some plyometrics. So I'll get the little blue TheraBands, put it around my knees and ankles, do some, it's like a standing version of some clamshells, so open the knees up. Yeah. Get the glutes activated. Then from there, start with some stationary stretches. So I'll go down, I'll do some leg kicks, lay on my back, leg kick up, leg kick to the side, those things. And then start with a little bit of movement. So walking, single leg toe touch, kick the rear leg behind.
Yeah, like a single leg RDL.
Yeah, single leg RDL, pull the leg up.
External
quad,
rotation, quadricep, yep. Okay.
Yeah. Toe touch, just kick, right? Those are 10 yards. So I do those, the 6 drills. And then from there, go to 15 yards and do a little bit more movement to where I start with just a forward skip, backward skip, sideways shuffle both ways, crossover run both ways. And then, and then from there, I head over to Double D and we start doing some more DB specific footwork.
I'm trying to get Greg Carbon on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he is one of the owners at Flash Performance, and that's where I do my I do sports performance training over there on the side, and I want to get him on here. I mean, I think he's a really smart guy, and I'm just always curious of like off-season stuff.
Yeah. And one thing too I want to say is you really like young athletes, some guys before a game, like they don't want to like get tired or sweat in their warm-up. Like, no, you need a break of sweat.
100%.
You need to break a sweat. You need to go. It's like if you get a little bit winded, great, because you need to go through that first, so that way you can have your second wind. I'm not saying to burn out, of course.
Right,
You know what I mean?
sure,
But,
But it should be a 10, 12-minute warm-up that's constant movement.
Get a lather. Yeah.
Constant movement, 100%. Yeah. So, you know what else? What I've always wanted to know? What's a day in the life during the season and in the off season of an NFL football player? So, like, you guys played yesterday. What's the day look like today?
Well, right before I came here, I went and got some Xrays.
Okay.
So if you have any injuries or something that happens during the game, mine's not that serious, but still want to get some imaging done just to make sure. Head in the facility, get checked out. Mondays are usually an off day, so unless you're doing something like I did. So Mondays are my day to do everything else. So anything that I push off during the week, errands, mailing things off. Maybe I have some family in town still from the game that's visiting, try to do something to entertain them. Tuesday is film review. So that's a half day. We'll go in early. We'll do something with the strength staff. We usually do 2 workouts a week. Some guys do 3. We'll do one of the workouts right there. Film review, watch the film, go over corrections on some of the plays, mistakes.
Of the previous game.
Of the game we just played.
Got it.
Yep. And then Wednesday is now we're turning the page and we're on to whoever the next opponent is. So Wednesday playing Buffalo. We'll do their first and second down, all their first and second down plays, their favorite plays, their star players, their schemes, things they like to do, get an understanding of them. Thursday is third down. So we'll do some first and second down still, but the emphasis is third down. What do they like to do on third down? Friday is special situations and red zone. So third and short, goal line, anything in the red zone, we do all that. And then, Saturday's a travel day, or if it's a home game, you got a couple hours before you check into the hotel, and then play on Sunday.
So how many hours of film do you think you guys watch a week?
Including the coaching staff, we spend a good, before we go out to practice, we spend a good 3 hours in film, and then we spend a good hour and a half after practice each day. So
you'll spend 3 hours at a time watching film?
Yeah, there's a couple 10-minute breaks sprinkled in between there, but yeah.
Wow.
And some of it is I'll say about maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours of that is watching film on them, and the other hour is what are we doing?
Right.
Yeah. The plays that we're installing. This is what we're planning to do. You know what I mean? Getting those
practices
right.
Film too,
yeah, so that way we know we're on the same page.
Yeah. Now, when you leave the facility, obviously you still have all the films and stuff with you. You watch a lot on your own time?
Yeah. So, it's kind of, when I was a younger player, I watched a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've gotten older, there is a thing as watching too much film.
Okay. Explain that. I mean? Yeah.
So
that.
for myself at least, I know there's a sweet spot in watching film to where I want to just know the personality of who we're about to play. I want to know who's their go-to guy. If I had to figure out okay, if they're in this situation, the pressure's on, what do they want to do and who do they want to go to? Is there a specific guy or whatever? But I like to get a feel for personality. And my job as a safety is to make a lot of the calls to make sure that we're on the same page. So I like to be more focused on us.
Yeah.
I like to be more focused on putting guys in the right position so that I can put them in the best chance to have success. And sometimes when I watch too much film, you start thinking of plays that, in week 4, they ran this play one time in this situation. You might be thinking about that, you know what I mean? And you're not it just ends up being distracting. And I like to play a little bit more free and clear. So I watch enough to where I got a pretty good idea of the things that can hurt me and
open that door.
And the plays that they like to do. But I don't want to overdo it to where I'm now guessing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing on what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to guess.
Yeah. Analysis was a
paralysis of
analysis.
Yeah.
Can't
so I'll probably
overthink.
do maybe an additional. It takes me about 30 minutes to watch a game. I usually watch 3 games, and then maybe there's something else specific I want to watch. If I have a good matchup with a tight end or whatever. So throughout the week, I might do an extra 2 hours of film on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now speaking about matchups, I got to ask this question. Is there any receiver or tight end or QB in the league that is like, this is my arch nemesis? Like I every time I play this guy, I want to bring my A game. Like, I mean, I know you always want to bring your A game, but there's always that one dude, that personality that you're like, yeah, he's gonna get his today.
Yeah. You know what? Gosh, man, that's hard to say.
You know how Jordan, when Jordan played, he always had that player on the other team. It kind of fueled his energy to like, okay, this is the guy for this week, and this is my arch nemesis, and anything he does, I'm gonna be all over him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Maybe Kittle. I'm always excited to play George Kittle. That's a fun matchup.
Yeah.
But you know, like my game isn't to get like, I play better when, I don't want to say emotionally detached, but like I play better whenever I'm emotionally stable.
Yeah, you don't want to make an emotionally charged decision.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because like if I start getting too into the nitty gritty or like a personal beef or whatever, then that might distract me from actually going and making a play or something like that. So some guys can play that way and feed off of it. I feel like I play a little bit better when I don't.
Yeah.
Now it's a standard for me that I'm going to hit you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That doesn't mean I'm not going to be physical. That the physicality is a standard. Like that happened first play of the game when we played the Broncos. 84 comes to try and block me, and I just lay into him. And he was like, "You better bring that." He's like, "You better bring that all game." And I was like, "You know I will." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't need to talk shit about it. You know what I mean? Like that's a standard for me that I'm going to be physical. Like you know what you're going to get. So I don't need to be extra emotionally charged to do that. I'm gonna do it regardless. So I feel like if I get too deep into it, it starts distracting.
Yeah, you play through anger, it clouds judgment.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So you're dialed in on your guys, your scheme, and what you've seen on film. It's not personal.
Yeah.
But you're bringing it.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that talk back and forth is ultimately to probably get you to make an emotionally charged decision.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? Get out of your gap, go for him. Maybe I've seen plays where like this dude is like going to try and hit this receiver that's trying to block him. The guy with the ball just runs right past him. It's like, bro, tackle the ball, bro.
Yeah.
Forget your personal vendetta, man. Come after you know.
Sure.
Yeah, and you just know if there is something that's because you know football, if there is something that chippy that happens, it's like just make a bookmark about it. It's like, I don't know when it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It might happen later this game, it might happen next year, but
he's gonna get his.
Remember it.
Yeah. You're gonna get yours.
Revenge is better cold anyway.
Yeah.
So no, that's great. What position? I know my thoughts on this. What position do you think has to be the most diverse position on the defense?
On the defense, the most diverse. In our scheme, probably the nickel. In a lot of schemes, it would be either your safeties or your linebackers.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that today. It's like, as a safety, you have to be able to read, run the lane. At the end of the day, you still want to be able to have run support and, tackle the ball at the line of scrimmage if you can. And then you're also in a situation where you could have to cover a slot.
Yeah, cover slots, slots, tight ends, running backs, run support, post safety. We send corner crashes, I'll guard outside too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the safety, and then on the offense, what would you say?
Tight end.
You think the tight end?
Yeah.
Tell me why you say that.
Just from you're talking about a dynamic position, just doing everything.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you block, you're in pass protection, you run routes. Tight ends these days are glorified receivers.
They're not one-dimensional anymore.
They're not one-dimensional. Like your old school tight end, that's just like blocking, passing, and running, whatever. We got tight ends running go ball, 7 routes. They're doing everything that wide receivers do. And then, they have the added benefit of they can disguise some things being in the line. I've seen them like, we call it a swap when you run behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Swap and run straight like past the center and then release upfield and things. So you can do a little bit more creative things with them. Sometimes wide receivers are easy to just like a Jamar Chase commands a lot of respect. We're just going to double team him.
Yeah.
We're going to double team you, just take you out of the game. And sometimes it's harder to do that with tight ends.
The question is, when did the tight end position evolve? You know, like,
well, it's the same time that the fullback position did. Like that 21 personnel or even 20 personnel, that fullback now, and the person I'm thinking of, I should be able to remember his name, but he's the fullback for the 49ers.
Juszczyk.
There you are.
Yeah, Juszczyk is one of a kind though. He's the only fullback that's like that, to where he's he's legit.
They don't have to change personnel.
Yes,
he can go out on a pass. He can lead block on a linebacker.
Yeah,
You can
that's
hand
part
him
of
the ball.
what the 49ers, their system too. They play like a positionless offense. Like on paper, you could say he's a fullback, but he'll line up at wide receiver. On paper, Debo is a wide receiver. He'll line up at running back. You know what I mean? So they'll move guys around and try and create some mismatches or put somebody like a linebacker out in space where he's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's an incredibly intelligent guy because what he's able to do out of these old school formations that like turn non-spread formations into spread plays.
Yeah.
You know, and he can do that because of say his last name again.
Juszczyk.
Juszczyk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
in my opinion, it's him,
Yeah.
right?
So,
You know.
So, yeah, the old all-star, fullback. We've definitely pivoted from that, but I'm still here to say I think Trav made the tight end position evolve.
I don't know, Gonzalez maybe.
No,
Gonzalez.
no, man.
Gonzalez or Gronkowski.
I feel like those guys still. I feel like those guys blocked a lot more, and
Gronk couldn't block.
yeah. I feel like those guys were because of their size blocked a lot more, to where when you look at Travis, it's like he's agile, he can move. He's not big. I mean, he's big, but he's not like overly bulky to where it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like he was kind of the guy.
He's fluid.
Yeah.
I mean, guys have put their best coverage corner when they play us, they put him on Trav.
Yeah.
And he gets open.
Yeah.
It's something that him and Mahomes have.
Yeah.
So now here, let's talk about this. So we talked about in season. What's off season look like? So you win the Super Bowl last year. How much time did you guys get off?
So it's a short off season when you win, because OTAs start up in January, February, March, April, about mid-April. So we had about a month and a half off. My birthday is in February 15th, so it happens to be right around the Super Bowl. The last 2 years has been on the same day as the parade.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of fun. So Super Bowl happens like 2 or 3 days. Parade happens on usually that Wednesday. Then for that, you're just kind of going wherever. I usually try and take a vacation somewhere as fast as I can, me and my lady, and we'll take off. And last year was a heavy off season of travel, but like I went to 23 different cities. Went to Germany, went to France, went to Tokyo, went to Phoenix, Tampa, Vail, Colorado, LA,
Vail's
Miami,
gorgeous.
New York, all over the place.
You probably was living out of the suitcase the entire time.
Most of the time,
Yeah.
Like I didn't stay anywhere longer than 4 days. But it was just heavy on the off seasons, the time that you can actually like try and build for down the road, like make connections, meet people, try and take advantage of all the opportunities. You know, you want to learn about some industry, go job shadow, whatever. That's the time to do all of that, right? So I just try and squeeze it all in. I try and squeeze every drop out of it because the season comes around so quickly again. And when it's football time, it's football time. Like nothing else, like everything else has to be put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And then like that's the window for guys that take advantage of it, that, you know, you can do all of that. Some guys like to just, you know, hang out and relax and do whatever they do. But I try and squeeze everything out of it.
Well, yeah, you got to enjoy your life as you're playing the game, because when you're in season, it's about the season.
Yeah. And I think what a lot of athletes miss too, and if you're a young player, I 100% just stay locked in on, you know, what you're doing and, you know, keep food on the table and do that. But as you get a little bit older,
go ahead. I'm sorry. You finish.
yeah, as you get a little bit older though, like you know, sports aren't forever, and it'd be beneficial to you if you took advantage of some opportunities to meet people that want to talk to you while you're still interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? The relationship is a lot better if you talk to them now than, oh, well, now I'm a former player and I'm looking for a job and opportunity, and now I'm trying to go find someone. Like the dynamic of that is so much different than if you had talked to them when you're still a current, and then you can build the relationship, and then that carries on once you're done playing.
What are you interested in outside of football?
I like commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in a couple of funds. I have a couple of mentors, a guy locally here in Kansas City.
I could connect you with someone who's been uber successful in commercial real estate if you'd like.
Yeah. I mean, I love it.
Yeah. I could definitely do that.
Yeah.
He's been, and he made a ton of money in that space.
Yeah.
And he's kind of transitioned. He actually is one of the owners of Oak Ridge, which is where we had the fundraiser.
Yeah.
So I could certainly get you in front of him.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love that. I love conversation. Make it organic and light and fun. Yeah.
So what's I'm curious to know, like, what is Super Bowl week like? Not the week of the Super Bowl, but you got to go out there a week before the Super Bowl, and it's kind of like
so you have 2 weeks. Most of the work is put in while we're still here, right? So Super Bowl we win the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 weeks till the Super Bowl. The first week we're here in Kansas City. So we'll go through our normal practice schedule, and most of the work is put in this first week. The second week, there's so many distractions, everything that's going on. Media's pulling you away, family. I mean, everything it's a circus.
Yeah.
Right? So you really put everything in the first week. The second week is just a review. So we'll do a shortened version of everything we already did the first week just to keep it fresh on your minds. But you have opening night, which you go to, the two teams, do that whatever performance.
Yeah.
Media from all over the world asking you sometimes wild questions. I think that I got one question that was like, yeah, Coach Reid was voted one of the most handsome men in the world. What do you think about that? I was like,
how do you answer that? How do you answer that? There's no good way to answer.
So, I mean, just
as long as his wife loves him, that's all. As long as his wife thinks he's handsome.
Yeah, as long as you really just try and get through it without saying anything that's going to put your foot in your mouth and makes it turn into something bigger than what it needs to be.
Now, how do you manage that? How do you manage the media friends you have? I mean, because you probably don't have a whole lot of time to like set aside for just you, just kind of like,
Well, I guess we're kind of spoiled now. 2 Super Bowls in a row. The first Super Bowl, I was so dialed into the game that like I didn't feel like I enjoyed the process of it as much.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I was just so locked into just like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't do anything fun. Like, my family was there and like I saw them, but I was like just seeing them really quickly and then trying to just go back and, watch film or whatever. The second one I got to enjoy a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I allow myself to like enjoy time with my siblings, my parents, like do fun things with them. I actually played a round of golf.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I played a round of golf on like the Friday before the game Sunday. Me and my brothers, we played the course that was at the hotel that we're staying at, way out in Henderson.
Okay.
Played a round of golf with them. It's light fun. Yeah.
Let's talk about your golf game. You a good golfer?
I'm halfway decent. I got a simulator in my basement that I like to practice on.
Okay. So we talking you're in the 70s every round?
No, hell no. Hell no. You're my scratch golfer?
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
But no, we're not there yet. I'll be like mid-80s.
Man, that's one of those games that's like as mental as it is physical.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say that might be probably one of the most mentally challenging games because you get the yips, man, and you're like,
yeah. And the harder you try, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, man,
I don't like the game at all.
I've had some tough rounds, but here you only got to hit one.
I'm actually going to go play around probably later today.
Good. It's going to be nice. 65 degrees today.
Yeah.
You only got to hit one pure shot, and you're like, God, that feels good. Throw one dart and it hits, and you're like, Yeah, I know why I come back. I shot 110, but I know why I come back to that one shot.
How old? What year in college were when you got drafted? Because you went to Houston first, right?
Yeah.
How many years? 1 year in Houston?
No, 4 years in Houston.
Was you in there 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years in Houston, and then this is year 7 for me. So
got it. This is your third year for KC then.
Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was year 6. I thought you were here longer.
Yeah.
And so was it your junior year?
Yeah.
That you went into the draft?
Yep.
Right after your junior year?
Yep. Well, really halfway into it. Yeah. Halfway into my junior year. because season ended in like January, and then went straight to training for the combine. Yeah.
So who came to you first?
What do you mean?
As far as I know you went to Houston, but how does that process work is what I'm trying to figure out.
You have no idea where you're going.
Right.
Yeah, I have no clue. So,
but I'm sure there was multiple teams, right?
Yeah,
It wasn't just Houston.
Yeah, I took I think like 13 visits to teams. Like I went to Jacksonville, went to Pittsburgh, went to Minnesota. I'll tell you the 2 teams I didn't go to. I didn't go here, and I didn't go to Houston. Like at the actual combine, I talked to 28 teams, right? 28 out of 32 teams. 2 of the 4 teams I didn't talk to was Houston and the Kansas City Chiefs. And these are the 2 teams that I ended up playing for. Yeah. So you really don't know. Like you go on the draft day, like you kind of have an idea you might go here. I was projected that I could have went to Carolina when I was coming on the draft. And then, you really just get a phone call. You find out maybe 30 seconds before the rest of the world finds out,
really?
The phone call that you get on your phone.
So that's legit. That's not drama.
No, that's legit. Yeah,
that's legit.
You're actually, I think the only guy that knows they're going is like the first overall pick because, yeah, you might actually, but everyone else, like you're literally just waiting.
So when you go to the combine after you perform there, the teams get your stats. They're there. They look at you. They watch film on you. At any point, do you actually go out and meet those coaches before they?
Yeah. So when you're there for the combine, they have there's formal and informal visits or whatever. There's no limit on them. It's just like time periods. So like there's like quick ones where a coach might grab you where you're eating or whatever and just like talk to you, ask some questions. And there's formal ones where you walk into like a converted hotel room where they take all the furniture out and they just have like, their tables and seats and everything. You have a chair, sit in the middle of the room, all of them are on that side, and they just ask you, whatever they want to ask you. Some of them are football related, some of them aren't.
Yeah.
Right? Someone's like, well, you feel like you a cat or a dog. You know what I mean? Like, like just random stuff. I remember, I don't remember which team this was, but I remember one of the coaches asked me, it was like, yeah, so you feel like when you on the field, like you'll bite somebody's face off? And I was like, right. He's like, yeah, like bite somebody's face off, like you're like aggressive like that. And I was like, yeah. I mean, I'll bite somebody's face off.
I mean, if
So, but yeah, that's where I met with 28 teams at.
What was that? What was that? I heard that story, but I can't remember who it was. Maybe one of you guys will know. But they put a $100 bill in the back of the playbook, and they gave it to this quarterback to read.
Yeah.
And then he gave it back to him, and the $100 bill was still taped in the back of the playbook. And they said because he didn't get to the back page to get the $100 bill, he was a no-go.
Maybe he did, but he didn't touch the $100 bill.
I think no. If I remember correctly,
they probably would have asked him a question about it or something.
Yeah, there was some sort of. They alluded to the fact that like, did you get that money or something? And
yeah,
gosh, who was it? I can't remember. But I'm sure the do they give you playbooks from that point? Like when you go visit?
No, you don't get a playbook until OTAs come around.
Okay. So you have very little understanding of their defensive scheme.
Yeah. Okay. No, they're more asking you questions to explain the scheme you played.
Okay.
Like they'll ask you explain the scheme you played in college. So they want to see how well you know your own system.
Yeah.
And use that as a gauge to see how well you can learn their system.
Yeah, that's a good question for sure. It also determines how much of a student of the game you're going to be.
Yeah.
Because if like at the end of the day, and I have to think this has to get exposed at the high level college football you played, but if you're going to just try to function off talent, you're going to lose because everyone has it.
Yeah.
By the time you're at Stanford, everyone has talent.
Yeah. And you can get away with it a little bit still in college because there are just some athletic freaks out there. But in the league, it's kind of hard to run from. You know what I mean? Your ceiling level of talent between college and NFL really isn't that different. You know what I mean? Your best players in college, some guys come straight to the league and are just as electric, just as whatever. Your ceiling level of talent really isn't that much different. What's different is the floor level.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the floor level of talent in college is a lot lower than it is in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now,
That makes a lot of sense.
talk to me about coaches that you've been around. What coach would you say is just like a straight up mastermind? Just like got an understanding of the game, and he's doing some things that like you've never seen before. Just so you were kind of like, damn.
Yeah. Well, aside from the obvious Coach Spags one.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I
mean,
mean, well, here, and Reid, too, from the offensive standpoint.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
bro, this is the first place that I came that we have like maybe 20 different versions of cover zero. I didn't realize you can even run cover zero that many different ways.
20 different versions
of cover zero, bro. Yeah, like legit. I'm not exaggerating.
That's crazy.
Well, it's just
Like,
man coverage, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
I don't understand what.
different blitz patterns, different people who's blitzing, different people who's covering.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I didn't even realize you can get this deep. I feel like people probably have like maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But like he'll create like 3 or 4 pressures. Same thing with Coach Reid, 3 or 4 pressures each week. So it's impossible for teams to know it's coming because, you know, he just made it up this week, especially for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which is probably the reason why you don't go back to week 1 and watch a team. You go back to the most recent game and you're like, all right, I'm going to study this because this is what they did last week.
Yeah.
This is the most recent.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
like, I could see doing that, but I'm sure I have to think it's difficult to find tendencies in offenses in the NFL because
Oh no, there's definitely tendencies.
there's still tons
There's
of them.
100%. There's still football still. There's definitely tendencies.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I'm thinking like
Now the
they
trick is,
would be able to eat more because of how talented they are. They're more
Yeah.
easily able to adapt what they're doing based on how the defense is trying to defend them.
Now the trick is though is you can know it's coming, but can you still stop it?
Here, no, I agree.
Yeah,
No,
right.
Yeah,
you can
right.
know it's coming, and
We
you know what I
ran
mean?
into that
like
last year.
when we played Tampa, right? I think everybody knew we're gonna give it to Cream, run it up the gut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can know it's coming, but can you stop it though? You know, and then like I mean, we have tendencies, they have tendencies. Like you can know it's coming, but I mean, who's gonna execute it better?
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's no joke for sure. You know,
And those are honestly the most frustrating ones too. Like a play that you knew was coming, and maybe it wasn't your play to make, so you couldn't do anything about it, and it's too loud to communicate across the field or whatever.
But you saw it.
But like you know it's coming,
Yeah.
and then it still works. And you're like,
oh,
Damn it.
Yeah.
it's infuriating.
Yeah.
It's infuriating.
You
Last year
saw
when we
it.
played
Yeah.
Seneca in the in that semifinal game,
Well, we
you
what
knew
they were
everything
doing.
they were going to
Knew
do before they did it, and they
Yeah.
beat us what 35. I don't know what they
Yeah.
beat us a lot to a little. They
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
handed it to us,
I mean, they ran behind their bigs. And that we there was
knew
no we
that
could do
wherever
it.
they went, that's where the ball was going, and we couldn't stop it.
yeah.
It's infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating.
Well, and then you got a guy like Mahomes who, you know what he's going to do, but expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like expect the unexpected. Guys get open. They
Yeah.
never
Well,
stop running their routes.
Mhm.
You know?
And he just finds ways to make plays. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The guy's absolutely unbelievable.
I will say I watched a highlight with Lamar Jackson. The guy blocked a pass, and he picked his own pass.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah,
had him.
unfortunately,
dude.
I remember that one too.
You had him, dude.
Yeah.
You had him, man. You had him. Yeah,
I
man.
thought I was getting a pick on that play.
I-
Out of nowhere, just this flash of purple. Just maybe they're wearing black. I don't remember what they're wearing that game. Just flashes by.
Yeah, man. I was
gotta
like,
be kidding.
man, that is crazy. Guy to get a block pass and pick it and run it. Yeah.
Talk to me about off-season workouts. So, what are they looking for? Are they more concerned with the speed with which you move the weight, or how much weight you're actually moving?
So, college and the NFL are different. College was
Talk
a lot.
to me college, then go to NFL.
Yeah, college was a lot more. Guys are still developing. You know what I mean? Some guys come in, you know what I mean? Like linebackers come in at like 210 pounds. You need to get them to 230 or 240. So you're very much hitting the grain on putting weight on, reps, all that other stuff, pushing the issue, trying to get big. all that other stuff. The NFL, you should already be at the size that you're probably going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Some guys might do some positional things, so they might go from one position to another. They need to put on or cut weight, but for the most part, it's about just staying fit. It's not as much about how much weight. It's about just doing enough that you're not, atrophying?
Right. Atrophy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I enjoy lifting weights, so I still like to put some weight on. But during the off season, it's a lot more, especially with travel, it's just a lot more about just doing something that you're not just sitting down.
What do you weigh?
And I'm like 218.
218?
Yeah.
6 what?
6'1".
6'1", 218. Okay. And so are the off-season workouts scheduled?
No. There's like off season in the NFL is you are completely on your own. Now you can come into the building if you want to. And if you don't come in shape next year, then they'll just hire somebody else who is.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
somebody's always trying to take your job.
Yeah, that's your motivation.
So do you have a strength coach that you work with in the off season?
Yeah, usually I like to just stay in the building. I like to stay in the building, but I do go to this DB camp run by Ryan Clark. And we pick different places that we host, sometimes in Louisiana. Excuse me, it's been in Phoenix the last couple of times too. And it'll be like 20 DBs. And we'll go out there and we'll do some coverage stuff. We'll watch each other's film, talk techniques, that type of stuff. But that's like a 1 week, 2 week thing. The rest of it is just like, doing striders. It's not anything intense like running and cutting.
Yeah.
Honestly, our strength coaches probably don't want you to do that because the last thing they want you to do is go out there and
injure yourself.
And you know what I mean? So they prefer everything to be more straight line.
Mm-hmm.
Just running straight, striders, sprints, whatever. And then like some weightlifting stuff. And then as you get closer to training camp or OTAs, that's when you start doing more football movements. You know what I mean? But
because your off season right now for you guys is February to April.
Yeah,
the way
February
it's been
to
last 2
April,
years.
And then there's another break. It's like April, June, July, January, March, April, May, June. Like from about mid-June to training camp, there's another little window there.
Yeah.
Probably about like 4 or 5 weeks. That's free time.
What do you do for flexibility and balance? I mean, like
I like Pilates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Pilates reformer. And
okay.
I do some Pilates and plyometrics.
Yeah.
Any yoga?
Yeah, I've done yoga. I like Pilates a little bit more for me personally than yoga, but
I've never done Pilates.
What's the difference between the two?
Yoga is you're on a mat and you're kind of just doing body movements. Pilates has a reformer.
Okay.
So you have like the table that has like the strings or the springs on it. And you're laying your back and you're doing stuff that way. So a lot of the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of the same things, but just kind of different structurally.
Yeah, like Pilates is just resistance. The resistance is just like uncommon angles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can maybe work some smaller muscles.
Yeah, that you normally are different parts of a muscle.
Yeah.
What how much guidance do you have as far as nutrition is concerned?
Well, we have a nutritionist. I have a chef too. So, I mean, usually I like staying around the building because you go up there and, breakfast and lunch are always in there. You can eat as much as you want. And then I have a chef come and he does 4 meals, 4 dinners for me throughout the week.
Okay.
And I'll save the last night and make it a date night for me and my lady. We'll just go somewhere to eat.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. You got to be intentional with that too. What are you, like, how old?
27.
27. Okay. And you definitely want to be intentional with that as much as you're probably gone for during the season.
Yeah.
Does your lady make all the games?
The home games, some of the away games. Like she usually come to the LA game.
Yeah.
I think she probably wants to go shopping. But the home game she does.
Yeah. Hey, give me something while you're out. Yeah.
I tell my wife, don't go buy me anything. Please don't go buy me anything. So what plans do you have as far as like some of these players, they get done playing and they start transitioning into, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a commentator, maybe it's a,
So I thought about that. I would love to be a coach if I didn't have to do the hours that they do.
Dude, what's it got to be 80 hours a week?
Bro, the hours are crazy. I mean, Coach Reid, I don't know if Coach Reid sees daylight. He gets there so early and leaves so late every day.
Yeah.
So I still want to be involved with the game though, but I think I would have a lot more fun being like an analyst.
Yeah.
A commentator / analyst. So I can still talk about the details of what teams are doing and why they're doing it and, put it in layman's terms for viewers watching, but still stay close to the game.
Tony Romo does a real good job.
Yeah.
But I think Tony Romo has to watch a lot of film.
Dude, he will call stuff out before it even happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy's got a great sense of like what's next.
He has to watch a lot of film.
I mean, Brady's doing a pretty good job too.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine. So I think that's probably a lot more involved. They have to probably be going to their practices, watching their practices, having an idea what's going on in the locker room, those types of things.
Well, I think for a quarterback, like they're already used to studying other teams.
Yeah. And, they already have connections and stuff.
Yeah.
They know players and know coaches and things in the locker room. Like it's a fraternity. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. And the tons of travel still because they got to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I remember them talking about John Madden, and how much traveling
he wouldn't fly,
and he had to have like a $250,000 bus and like a mobile home.
Yeah,
yeah. So
he wouldn't travel. I mean, but hey, if you're scared to fly, you don't want to travel. Drive.
I'm more scared of driving than I am flying.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Put me in a plane here, and if we've both flown private before. Now that's the way to travel.
Yeah. Here, I honestly wish I never did it.
Yes.
Because then when you got to go sit at the airport for an hour,
you're like,
come on. If I ever make that kind of money, that's the first purchase I'm going to do.
So one of the things that I've never understood is people that want to jump up in line and immediately get their seat. Okay.
Nah, I want to be the last one on the plane.
Me too.
Unless it's like Southwest where it's like, you're picking your seat, but otherwise.
Well, and that's why
put me last.
I would rather, I'd like flying where your seat's already assigned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's nice. You know where you're going.
Then you can be the last one on the plane.
I'll wait. Yeah.
I always wait.
Then you can.
I don't want to sit on that plane any longer than I have to.
But here, how many times we'll fly Southwest and Michelle will get on immediately when you can board, and you end up like in C-25.
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell does that happen?
Yeah.
So it's infuriating. Frankie George, I want you to ask your question. Come on. Come over here. You got to use the microphone. We're here. We'll remember what you struggle with. Well, you want to ask him about that and how he deals with it. Come on.
So our next question is from our second host. Will go Frankie George Termini. Frankie, what is your question?
Get by the mic so we can hear you.
How do you overcome a fear that you're scared of, like from football?
Overcome a fear that you're scared of. Well, there's two thoughts that come to my head immediately when you ask that. One is this quote that I learned when I was in college, actually from the strength staff, that is about fear and what fear is. And it's like fear doesn't exist in the present, right? So fear is anxiety about something that hasn't happened yet, or anxiety about something that happened in the past. You know what I mean? But in the present, like, there's only opportunity, right? There's only a chance to do whatever it is you're trying to do. And that's a quote that I've just always liked. It's a quote I tell the guys sometimes about when we're getting ready to play a game, maybe it's on a big stage, that there's no fear when you're out there on the field. You just go out there and do it. You know what I mean? If you're not worried, don't worry about the future. Don't worry about what happened in the past. Just focus on this moment right now. And then the second thing about how I'd answer that question is, like, that anxiety or fear or whatever for me is from lack of preparation. Because I feel like if I'm prepared, then there's nothing to worry about. And whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I put myself in the best position to be successful, and you just, roll it out there and do it. And whatever happens is I'm okay with it because I felt like I was prepared for the moment.
What other questions you got?
Come on, you're a future host, Frankie. Throw it out there, buddy.
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you play video games? Because you play video
No.
games. Do you play video games?
I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't play video games as much anymore. I mean, I guess I kind of do. Well, simulator.
Yeah.
I play on the simulator.
That's,
and I don't do that.
yeah.
So it's kind of like a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I got one, and you can ask it because they can't hear me right now. But is fear? Because I remember when we talked to the high school kids, and we actually like made them write down things that they were afraid of.
Yeah.
Is that something that's still prevalent that guys are still dealing with in an NFL locker room? Because I mean, just from a psychological standpoint, I think that there's a space
Yeah.
for dealing with athletes that
Yeah.
struggle with that type of stuff.
Yeah. That ends up
So
probably getting.
how we simplify that question?
The prevalence of fear in an NFL locker room.
How about the presence of fear?
There you go. Well,
Yeah.
you could do that.
Because,
too.
so I ask him if the presence of fear is still there in the NFL locker room.
The presence of fear, is it still there in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's always there in every walk of life, that there's always something that, like the what ifs or whatever might happen. I think that is there, but I think that especially in NFL locker room, like the mentality is just to attack it head on directly, and see, if it's actually something to be afraid of.
Well, and then I think something that, go ahead.
When you're around on the field and you mess up, is it embarrassing in front of all those people?
Yeah, sometimes it is, but you don't have time to think about it now. You just got to move on to the next play and handle it there, and then usually the embarrassment comes later on after the game when you're watching film on it, and maybe you got to relive the moment. But in the middle of the game, things happen. You're just like, well, that sucks, and you just kind of
You don't dwell on
You
it.
can't dwell on it. You can't dwell on it because then it'll affect your next play, and you don't want to turn one bad play into three bad plays.
Next play
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What else you got for 'em?
I want to hear what you're gonna say.
All right. Go ahead. Good job. buddy.
Good job, Frankie. Yeah.
I have.
It ain't
Good
easy.
job, champ.
It ain't easy to
The more practice you get at it, the easier it gets.
Well, and here, just full transparency, he had this practice, huh? Yeah. Well, he had this practice where I don't care about performance.
Yeah.
I will never jump his ass on performance.
Yeah.
I only do it attitude and effort. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
And there was just one day where this attitude and effort just was awful, and I jumped his ass.
Yeah.
And he finally just came out and admitted to me that he was scared. And I'm like, well, that's no big deal. I don't care about that. Yeah. I mean, honestly, fear is probably good.
Yeah.
It's going to sharpen you. So
Yeah.
that's just something that we're just constantly dealing with. And it's like, hey, don't be afraid of, don't be embarrassed of being afraid.
Yeah. No. That's nothing to be. Yeah.
I mean,
because if fear didn't exist, then courage doesn't exist either.
yeah,
that's
that's
true.
right.
Courage is attacking something that's fearful, even though it's, you know what I mean? That's what courage is.
fear
So
management.
in order to have courage, there has to be fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
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 There's no other way around it.
Yeah.
If you want to be brave, you have to have fear.
Absolutely.
There's no other way around it.
And
So-
everybody deals with it. On some level, it's all about how you manage it.
here I was listening to, and I actually let him hear it. And I'm sure you've heard of Hicks and Gracie. You may not have, but from a mixed martial arts standpoint, he's probably the holy grail.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm afraid of everything. He goes, if a guy tells me I'm not afraid, to me, he's stupid.
Yeah.
He directly correlates fear and intelligence. And honestly, like if you look at someone who doesn't have fear, they're probably not very smart.
I think there's something like here. You ever seen that documentary Free Solo, where the guy climbs, what is it? Gosh darn it, I can't remember the name of the mountain that he climbs, but he climbs it without a rope. The whole thing.
Oh, that's
El Capitan climbed without a rope.
That's a maniac.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like the man has no fear.
Yeah.
But I think there's something that is physically wrong with his mind to not have the operation of fear to be able to do that and succeed.
Well, and I think lack of fear can also make you overconfident too.
Yeah.
Like you want to be afraid enough that you're showing up to practice early, staying late. You want to be afraid enough that you're watching extra film. You want to be afraid enough that you're sharp, right?
Yeah.
So
and do what you need to do so that you can go out there and perform.
Yeah, and so these young kids think NFL and major league athletes and all these different professional athletes don't have fear. No, they have fear.
No,
They're just managing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
just like professional athletes isn't a space where you show fear. It doesn't mean that it isn't there. It doesn't exist.
Right.
But you just don't show it.
And part of the reason
everybody has it.
Part of the reason why you play is because of the fear. That's kind of what that feeling right before a game is.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Uh-huh.
That's the best.
That is the best.
That especially in a football game, because man, you're going to go out there and get your clock cleaned, and you're going to clean someone's clock. But at some point in the game, if you're playing the type of team and the type of game you want to play,
you're going to get run.
You're going to get your bell rung.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just going
as long as you're hitting more than you're getting hit. And we played this game against the Broncos. I feel like most of the game I was the dominant guy, but there's one play where this pulling tackle came and he pancaked me pretty bad. Like I'm talking like he lifted me up in the air, and when I was in the air, I was like, "Well, this isn't going to end." Probably went like 4 yards in the air, slammed me on my back. I just got up. You know what I mean? It wasn't going to show that it hurt anything. Just immediately got up, walked back, and just played the next play. Like that play. You know what I mean? That was a play that is it could be embarrassing, but it's like. That play happens to everybody though. I just did the same thing to 6 of their guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually it's going to happen to me too. So it's just.
Yeah. I remember watching a documentary on Kittle where he actually got rolled over and he was laughing at himself.
Yeah.
He seems like he has a pretty good personality, which is why I think he's as effective as he is, because, we've had several different athletes and professionals come and talk at Pius, and that there's one common denominator in it. Professionals don't get too high when things go good, and they don't get too low when things go bad.
Yeah.
They're even keeled.
The radar.
Yeah, they're even keeled. So, what is there anything else you want to say to the audience? I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. No problem. I was actually about to look up that quote.
Yeah.
I think it might have been from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
So I'm almost positive it's Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah, if I find it later, I'll text it to you.
It's bothering me. It's the Eckhart Tolle's guide. I think Eckhart Tolle's brilliant. I can't remember what it is, because that's why he wrote the. That's because it's saying right here, Eckhart Tolle, the absence of fear in the present moment. There is never fear in the present moment. If you do not fall ill, or it's all over the place. But he wrote that book, The Power of Now, and I know that was kind of the premise behind it. Where you don't want to focus. Like
That's all you have is right now in this moment. And
depression comes from thinking of the past.
Yeah.
And then fear comes from thinking of the future. Fear and anxiety come from thinking of the future. And I know what he's talking about. And I'm almost positive Eckhart Tolle is the one.
You shared a good quote on anxiety about, what's in the center.
Oh, with pride and anxiety?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Stephen Furtick.
Yeah.
Yeah. How I is in the center of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted him to listen, but I did have Gianna listen to it because Gianna can wrap her head around it. He's still a little young for that.
Yeah. Frank's deep.
Did you find it?
No, I didn't. Let me real quick. I saw my grandfather's in town, and they're going around Kansas City right now, just exploring things.
Oh yeah.
And I said I'll meet them for like a brunch.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to.
It's 11
It
o'clock.
was a good brunch place.
Good brunch place.
I'm just going to take them to First Watch. Something simple.
First Watch is good, but here they're not.
Snooze is pretty good too.
But here's the other thing: while they're in town, they got to go get some barbecue.
Yeah, they did that yesterday.
All right,
yeah, they did that yesterday.
Where'd they go?
I told them that they should go to Joe's.
They
ended up going somewhere else, and Joe's was actually closed yesterday anyway.
Okay.
So they might get some Joe's on the way out today.
Oh yeah. KC barbecue is it's so good. We're spoiled.
Yes. One of my favorite barbecue joints is Hog Jaws.
Here, Nick's is great. I agree with you.
People don't know a whole lot about it.
It's kind of tucked back on Swift.
Hog Jaw.
HAWG. Is that how they spell it? It's HAWG. It's not HOG, is it?
Yeah. It's
HAWG.
Yeah.
Hog Jaws.
Hog Jaws.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It is so good.
That's funny. Okay, you guys want to see something funny?
Yeah.
So me and some of the guys went out to Patrick's place yesterday and just had some fun celebrating the win and all that. And then we get home, and my girl's pregnant, so she was driving, right? And she sends me this picture of me when we got back to the house.
Just laying there.
Just spent, man.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's exhausting. What part of town you live in?
Hallbrook.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
good.
Bro, is it big? This house is insane, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What part of town's he at?
He's also down south in Overland Park.
Overland Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I really
This
appreciate it.
is awesome, man.
Yeah, it's been good.
Is
there anything we forgot to ask?
Man, I guarantee there's some stuff we forgot to ask. I know there's some things, but when you're talking to a two-time Super Bowl champ,
Yeah.
I mean, and we're knocking on the door number 3 with just an amazing season going, you're going to lose your train of thought because
sure.
there's so many things you want to ask.
Starstruck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starstruck.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys letting me come on, man. This was fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
We got some time here.